Hi there and welcome back to the series on building a Laravel Voyager financial website, and in this session we are going to mainly focus on the tools and technologies that are going to be used for the development of this project. So the first technology is Laravel, and Laravel is actually one of the commonest frameworks that are used for developing web applications currently, and it is actually open source. And Laravel is mainly built on PHP. One of the beauties with Laravel is that it uses an MVC architecture, in that it works with models, and these are always eloquent models. And it also provides, for example, when you look at this about us, this is an eloquent model, just like you can see. So at least you must have some basics in Laravel, or you can also learn along the way. So it provides access to the MVC architecture by providing the models. We have the ability of working with eloquent models, account types, just like you can see this. And it also provides us, it actually gives us the ability of working with views, in that we have the ability of not only creating the back end, but also creating the user interface. For example, if I try to look at the about us, this is the UI structure, and by default when you're working with the user interface, you're always going to work with Laravel Blade. That is if you do not want to work with more customized UI frameworks like maybe React, JavaScript, or Vue or Next.js, but by default we always have Laravel Blade. So Laravel Blade is always a mixture of PHP and some HTML. So by default it's built on the foundation of HTML. That is where you can see that, for example, on the About Us page, I do have code snippets for HTML, the sections, the divs, the headings, and etc. Then in terms of the controllers, if, for example, I look at some of the controllers that we do have, for example, if we check out the About controller, or maybe the Contact Us page controller, these are the controllers. And then with the controllers, we always have the ability of creating the functionality that is going to be used to ensure that we have dynamic web applications. For example, displaying the contact information, or if we actually wanted to add maybe the logic of it can be loan applications or the loan calculator, we create controllers that inherit from the main controller file, and all the functionality can be added here. Or sometimes we also work with repositories and etc. Yeah, so generally controllers, they also help us with routing. When you check out the web routes file, you can see that I do have some routes defined. So that is it with the controllers. And then by default it comes pre-built with authentication features, and that is because of the provision of the Laravel Breeze. Then sometimes you can actually work with some other advanced kits. So before you actually think about working with this technology, you must ensure that it is installed. And the fact that Laravel is built on PHP, that means that you must have PHP installed, and PHP is actually the core language on which Laravel was designed. Because, for example, when you look at this file, you can see that I'm actually working with the PHP syntax, then the namespaces, and of course it's built on top of OOP, the object-oriented paradigm. And you can also see that the fileable variable starts with a $sign, and that is always a syntax for creating variables in PHP. Yeah, so you must ensure that you have PHP installed according to your operating system. Maybe if you're working with Windows, for example, you can always download it and ensure that it's up and running. And you can always test out whether PHP has been installed. For example, when you type PHP -- version, so you can see that currently I'm having PHP version 8.3.14, and now when it comes to the installation of Laravel, you must take note of the fact that we always work with a dependency manager, which is Composer. So you must check out Composer and ensure that you get a copy of the Laravel installer. So you must download Composer according to your operating system. Then if you want to get more insights on how it works, you can check out the documentation. But mainly for Laravel, in terms of the installation, having looked at its features, because I actually mentioned a few features, because you can also see that it provides access to databases, migrations, quite a lot of features, testing, built-in testing, and etc. So you can do more exploration on that. And yeah, when you look at the installation, you're being told that before creating your first Laravel application, make sure that your machine has PHP Composer and then the Laravel installer. You must also ensure that you do have Node JavaScript, and you can always check it out as well, and that is Node.js. This is it, and this is also open source, but it's a cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that lets developers create servers, web apps, command line tools, and scripts. So you also ensure that you have Node. Then if you do not have PHP and Composer installed on your local machine, the following commands can actually install both of them, can actually install these softwares, and then the installer for operating systems like Mac OS, Windows, or Linux, and these are the commands that you can actually use. You must always ensure that you restart your terminal to ensure that these softwares are actually updated. But then if you already have those softwares, PHP and Composer, then you can go ahead and install the Laravel installer via Composer. And for any Laravel dependency, you always access Composer first, so that syntax is always Composer, and then based on what you want to do. So for example, you want to ensure that the Laravel installer is installed globally, so you type Composer global require, then Laravel installer, then /installer. And that is it, pretty much it. We shall look at how we create a new Laravel project later. So the other technology is Laravel Voyager, and Laravel Voyager is actually a very powerful admin interface builder that provides ready-made admin dashboards, user management, and CRUD builder, which is create, read, update, and delete operations. And it also provides a media manager, menu builder, and much more. So when you look at this is an admin dashboard that has been built on top of Laravel Voyager, and you can see that by default it comes in with user management, so you can always check it out. It's not that hard, but of course, first things first, you ensure that you go through the documentation, how it's installed, and you can pretty see that it's always installed via the dependency manager for Laravel, which is Composer. So having created a new Laravel project, then you can go ahead and run this command. And then in case you want some dummy data, you can also go ahead and do this. So we are going to see all this while working on our project. So it also provides bread, and the bread is always ability for you to browse fields, read fields, edit, add, and delete, just like you can see. Then it also handles validations of data in terms of the user interface. That is if we are trying to create new resources on the server. And then it also handles relationships, cases whereby we are having a one-to-one, a one-to-many. It handles the relationships in within the user interface framework as well. So it's really a nice library. Then it also has form fields. Then the other beauty about it is the media manager. Voyager has a full-fledged media manager that allows you to upload files, rename files, and etc. Yeah, so it really has much in plenty, and we are going to be working with most of these, and most especially the functionality of the database. So most of the times you can actually work with a database schema, in that Voyager has some awesome database tools which allow you to add, edit, delete, or view current database tables. And yeah, so you're going to learn all this along the way, but these are insights on the tools and technologies that you should expect. So that is pretty much it for now in terms or regarding Laravel Voyager. Then in addition, we're also going to work with Tailwind CSS. So Tailwind CSS is actually a utility-first CSS framework, and it is always packaged with classes, for example, flex, padding top 4, then text center, and etc. And that can be composed to build any design directly into your markup project. Yep, so Tailwind CSS is actually perfect for building responsive modern UIs quickly. So we are going to make use of majority of its classes so that we build this website in a way that is really attractive and very responsive in terms of the user interface. So this is the official site, just in case you wanted to get more insights on Tailwind CSS. You can always check it out. Then we are also going to work with Laravel Livewire. Now when it comes to Laravel Livewire, it actually makes building dynamic interfaces very simple without writing JavaScript. So in case you had issues with JavaScript, yeah, Livewire is actually one of those nice technologies that you can use in case you're not a JavaScript guru, just like me. But anyway, it works seamlessly with Laravel and Tailwind CSS. And this is their official site, so you can always check it up, but we are going to work with it as well in terms of making our pages dynamic. And you can also see that it uses the dependency package manager for Laravel, in that you first access Composer, then you install it as well. So we shall be working with all these along the way, and I hope you're already excited about all this. So Livewire has a number of component features. When you check it out, validation, file handling, file downloads, quite a lot I would say, pagination, flash messages, loading states, just to mention a few. And lastly, we are also going to work with XAMPP. So we are going to work with XAMPP, but you can also work with WAMP server. It's no offense. Both XAMPP and WAMP are free and easy to install. And you must take note of the fact that, for example, XAMPP, it's actually a local server for PHP development. And it always comes pre-built with Apache. So XAMPP always includes Apache, MySQL, which is going to act as the database management system that we are going to work with, and it also provides phpMyAdmin. And now phpMyAdmin is actually this interface which gives us access to the graphical user interface, so that we have the ability of accessing the databases and creating tables, making queries, and etc. So that is it for XAMPP. And maybe one other thing I would emphasize is the fact that we are going to use a relational database model, because just like you can see, this is MySQL, so you must take note of the fact that we are going to be working with a relational database model, in that we are going to organize the data in terms of rows and columns. And yes, that's pretty much it for this project in terms of the tools and the technologies that you should expect. Yeah, so make sure your development environment is set up correctly, and you can always test out your PHP installations using the php version command, and same applies to Laravel. For example, you can type Laravel version. Then you can see this is the type of Laravel installer that I'm working with at this point of time. And you can also confirm the version of Composer by typing composer -- version, and this is it. So with Composer, it actually gives you the current version of Composer that you're working with, and also it gives you the current version of PHP as well. So that's it for today's video. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any questions. Thank you.